Information could change your life. Call 800-315-9956. 800-315-9956. Wipe out your federal student loan debt. Find out how. Call 800-315-9956. 800-315-9956.
The Office Pile is one of the top co-working spaces in the nation because it provides the best office space for a multicultural and diverse business community. If you're a business owner looking to rent space, join today for as little as $165 a month. Never a contract or long-term lease. The Office Pile offers you the most beautiful and affordable office space and event hosting destination in Arizona. We can host any event from 2 to 500 guests. TheOfficePile.com, TheOfficePile.com.
Este baile no hay salida, que corre el tiempo. Pégate y zumba conmigo.
Live from Phoenix, this is the Entrepreneurs in Fuego, the #1 multimedia broadcast show for entrepreneurs in Arizona. And now, here's your host, Francisco Javier.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurs in Fuego radio show. I'm giddy. We are the #1 multimedia broadcast show for entrepreneurs in Arizona. Joining me in studio, it is my distinct privilege and pleasure. Are those two different things? Privilege? I don't know. That's a subject for a different time. To introduce my guest, co-host Olenka Cullinan, CEO and founder of Rising Tycoons, where she turns teens into mindful Tycoons. Rising Tycoon Academies RTA program offers hands-on real-world training, preparing a new generation of aspiring, values-based entrepreneurial leaders. That's a mouthful. Good morning, Olenka.
Good morning, Francisco. You are on fire.
I am en fuego.
That's right.
Indeed. Olenka and I will be discussing the merits of failing your way to success, and no one with a better perspective on the subject than Olenka, as she's working with very young entrepreneurs. What are the ages, kind of?
Well, we have two ages, 13 to 18, which are our beloved teenagers, because everybody loves teenagers, and then millennials.
And all right, that the M word. I've got a lot of thoughts about that. We did a show last week about why millennials are abandoning social media. By the way, it was an interesting show. But anyway, that was for last week. So if you want to listen to last week's show or any of these shows, you can just go on demand, go to the Entrepreneurs in Fuego channel on YouTube and click in any of the shows that you might have missed because you probably were asleep. And if you're asleep right now, you're not listening to the show, then you're probably not an entrepreneur. Period.
Absolutely.
My name is Francisco Javier, your co-host.
Olenka Cullinan.
Oh, you see that? We rehearsed this. CEO and founder of the Office Pile, named in 2015, one of the top co-working communities in the world, opening our Phoenix location on December 15th. And as always, this portion of the show is being brought to you by, I always wanted to say that for some reason, Jane Kernan with Locomotive Marketing. He's also in studio, turning free Wi-Fi into your #1 marketing tool. Good morning, brother. Yeah, there you go. Sandrina Benz, the leader in luxury car private client service. Leona Bush with Clean Kiss for the kiss of health. Sometimes, Latin people, we sometimes, instead of saying kiss, we would say kiss. Because I see the I, and much like in Russian, you see the I is an E. An E is an E, and I is an A, right?
Yeah, absolutely. People with accents make best entrepreneurs.
Allison Hilton with compliments at A Hilton Salon and Spa. I agree. And Christine Sabah, the most knowledgeable realtor in Arizona. Those are our sponsors for this portion in the morning. On deck for this Sunday. Wow. We have a fully loaded and terrific show. Scott McLaine is in the house, a brother from another mother. And Shohreh Aftahi. She's an MBA, PhD, who is a world-class management consultant and business coach at Focal Point Business. We'll have him a little bit later on, but I'm so delighted. In studio. At the bottom of the hour, should I say the return from the man from Mars? Brian Wood, certified professional coach and NBA player rep, will share some of the lessons from Mars. And I don't know exactly what lessons you're going to be bringing in this morning. But
well, the first thought is I need to work on my accent because apparently that's the qualifier to be successful. So I'll probably enhance my New Jersey coffee, water accent. Does that count or
Absolutely.
No? Okay.
of course it
100%.
counts.
Okay.
Of course it counts. We have to spice it up a little bit with foreign accents, and by foreign I mean outside Phoenix. 850-003. Okay, let's go back to the top of the show and welcome my co-host Olenka Cullinan. Доброе утро, Olenka.
Доброе утро, Francisco.
Как дела?
Отлично. We should probably tell people we're talking about something good.
Я не говорю по-русски.
He said he doesn't speak Russian. Well, you just spoke. It was pretty impressive.
Thank you. I practiced that all weekend.
You did?
Indeed. You are really blazing trails for young entrepreneurs. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing with Rising Tycoons.
Absolutely. Well, I would say they're blazing the trails for me, to be honest. I'm learning a lot from them. So the idea behind Rising Tycoons is to teach teens success skills, and we do it through 3 different tracks, which is leadership, entrepreneurship, and personal development skills. And we give them an opportunity to, learn how to build their life by design, learn how to think. How do you launch a business when you're 13, 14, 15-year-old?
Okay, that's cool, right? I mean, and I hear what you're saying. And so we're teaching these young entrepreneurs how to succeed.
Absolutely.
Are you teaching them how to fail as well? Because we are growing up in a society in which we have all these, shall I say, overprotective parents sometimes, that when we go to a soccer game and where there's competitive sports, etc., everybody gets a medal. Right, Brian? Everybody gets a medal anymore. And so failure, it's some sort of anomaly, something that we just do not embrace. But the reality is that 8 out of 10 businesses will fail. So for the young entrepreneur, where you're teaching them success and guiding them through this path of learning all these qualities and everything else, wouldn't it be perhaps wise to also teach them, hey, by the way, you will succeed, and that's what we want, yes, but there is a chance that you will fail, and this is what it looks like. Is that something that you include in your curriculum?
Yes, 100%. As a matter of fact, I am a big believer in failure. I actually love failure. I think we unfortunately do live in a society that sort of conditions everyone, not just teenagers, but everyone, conditions them against failure to a degree. And I think with teens especially, or any young entrepreneur, you have to teach them how to fail. As a matter of fact, I think you need to embrace and celebrate failure, because if we don't, success is short-lived. Success makes you comfortable. Success puts you in this sort of coasting zone. Where you really grow and learn things is from failure.
Brian Wood is also in studio, and you play college basketball, Brian. And again, being in that environment, you know about failure as well.
Yeah.
How did you deal with failure at that level?
Well, it's definitely an opportunity. Right? When you fail, it's an opportunity to learn and get better. And your point about everyone getting a trophy,
right,
that is a fascinating dynamic. And I don't know how we got here, but that's not reality. And to get a taste of failure and understand at an early age that the way to overcome failure is to work harder and to work more strategically, those are some lessons that we're not able to deliver if everyone is delivered a trophy. And there was a great quote, I'll butcher it, but it goes something like this. Colin Powell once said that the people that are sheltered, when they eventually get cut, they bleed to death. So to your point, right, the parents the intentions are very good. Here's a trophy and you're the best and there's never been a better player, but the reality is you're really holding back their progress and their opportunity to be great.
Olenka, in your program in Rising Tycoons, how big are the classes and how long is this program for? And of course everybody graduates and everybody goes on to do what? What happens after they graduate?
Yeah, absolutely. So the program is called Rising Tycoons Academy. It's 16 modules, and behind it, there's a train-the-trainer program where we can bring it to schools. So we have it where students come to us, but we can also bring it to schools, and schools can implement that. And the idea behind it is that for 16 modules that in school lasts a year, they learn everything from leadership mindset to building your life by design. And the idea behind it, failure is a huge part of it because we actually learn to celebrate it. We literally do. We celebrate failures. We teach them that they need to become a Yoda or a Batman of failure. It's not just, embracing some of it. It's truly celebrating that. And the idea behind it is they launch a business by the end. And even if they don't fail, they still get to pitch it because they need to understand what they did wrong. What did they learn from their mistakes? How are they going to move on? And the skills they take it with them, it's priceless. Personally, I think whether or not they launch a business, it's great. It's a bonus.
Right.
But the skills that they take with them, the fact that they can now, be the failure Batman and not care about that and be conditioned against avoiding it. I mean, think of how many things people avoid in life because they're afraid to fail. I mean, you can think of 100 things yourself. I could think of things. I played tennis once in my life because I went in, I wasn't Sharapova, and I left. So
you look like Sharapova.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
it's a compliment. I hope.
Good point.
Of course.
This early in the morning, it's definitely a compliment. But I mean, to me, that's a huge accomplishment. If they can walk out of that course, and if they can truly embrace every experience and every skill they're taking with them, and not avoid doing something because they're literally avoiding failure, that's a success to me.
Let me ask you a question. Quick question.
Sure.
How big are the classes?
It can be up to 30 students.
Up to 30 students. Because of your experience, and maybe this is an unfair question, but when you look at the group and everybody introduces themselves, after everybody does their own introduction, hi, my name is Mikey, blah, 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 and this is what I am. Can you tell, just at first glance, who is going to succeed and who is going to, or has the propensity to win, or the person that has the propensity to lose? Just by the way that they introduce yourselves, just by the way of how they convey themselves inside that introduction of 10, 15 seconds.
To be honest, yes and no, because a lot of times when they come into us, for some students, it's a last resort and they've never spoken in public and they sit in the corner and they don't want to speak, period. For some of them, they'll say, my parents made me be here, so I already hate it before it even started. And, some of them are super excited, but I will tell you that I think talent is overrated and perseverance is underrated. So a lot of times it's the students that come in. And I'm sure, Brian can relate to that. I'm sure a lot of times it's the students who come in and they don't surprise you. And they don't surprise you as somebody who's going to win. And they start working extra hard and be fearless and literally jump into that opportunity to fail are the ones who are going to blow you away at the end.
Olenka Cullinan from Russia with Love. She is?
Absolutely.
The new Sharapova. The Sharapova of business.
I like that.
How about
I am
that?
Brendan that, just so you know. It's Enfuego.
Exactly. And by the way, Enfuego was about 2 years ago in some group that you belong to.
Yes.
That's what they called you, right?
Absolutely, yes. It's called Students for Advancement of Global Entrepreneurship. And yes, they gave me a nickname, Olenka Enfuego. So I actually...
How about that?
Yeah,
that was 2 years.
This is fate.
This is fate.
Serendipitous, for sure.
I like that word, too. That is very good. Serendipitous. 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 See, I can say that 3 times without any fail.
Hey, one thing about failure, I think it gives you courage and confidence, right? The world didn't end, right? Okay, I stubbed my toe and I'm still alive. And okay, now next time I'm faced with a challenge, I realize that the world's not going to stop spinning. I got this. So I think that's extremely important in every aspect of our lives to be comfortable with failing, because if you're not, that means you're not taking enough chances and you're playing it too safe.
There you go. In studio also, Brian Wood, the man from Mars. In your experience in college, were you ever surprised when you have this roster of players, right? Whatever, 12, 15 players, and then the most unlikely individual came out and became a hero, if you will, in the team? Did you ever see that?
What I saw, Francisco, was you can bring effort every single day. every practice, every game. And it's kind of like the grit, and it's kind of like Olenka was talking about with the people that really just grind it out. So ultimately, you'll win. If you bring effort every single night in business, in life, athletically, you will win. It's just a matter of time. And the people that just have that laser focus, that regardless of what happens, regardless of the level of my failure, I'm still going to grind it out, and I'm going to outwork every single person on the court, they will ultimately win. It never fails.
Olenka, how do you instill that focus, that laser focus that Brian's talking about, into a wily 30 a room for 30 teenagers? I mean, their attention span can be that focus at the time that they start the program with you. How do you corral that focus?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, the attention focus is short. And obviously, you want to give them as many hands-on experiences as possible. You want to bring as many entrepreneurs. I am a big fan of bringing real-life entrepreneurs into the room, especially the ones who failed a few times. Because think about what's behind failure. Behind failure is really fear. It's not that we're afraid to fail. We're afraid to look like a fool in front of people. It's the fear and the ego that stands behind it. And so what we teach early on is how do you teach them to get rid of that fear? How do you teach them to jump in both hands, look at people, who failed a few times in real life and are successful today? Because it's learning by osmosis. When they learn from authentic people who's failed in real life, we give them experiences, that are in our curriculum that are very much hands-on. We teach them to become fearless. We do multiple exercises. They teach them to get rid of fear. And, I always joke about myself. If I can look like a fool in front of a room of 750 teenagers, there's not much that phases me in life after that.
Well, indeed. It is. For me, it's fascinating. The whole failing to succeed, if you will, that we talked about, and learning how to fail and taking those lessons and turning those lessons into an asset, if you will, that the next time, the next go around, you are going to apply whatever, and hopefully apply whatever you learned from those experiences and take them into your next venture. So I think that is important. That is very, very, very effective. In your experience, Olenka, because you've graduated how many people so far in your program?
A few. Well, we've worked with over 6,000 teens. We had a few hundred go for Rising Tycoons Academy.
Are there, of the 6,000, say? I mean, and again, this is probably unscientific, but how many of those kids have gone on to create their own successful business? Is there a follow-up aspect to your program where you track these people afterwards?
Yeah, absolutely. We track them. We make sure, that those who go to college, we know where they are. But also we have what's called ambassador program, where they get to come back to us up to 2 to 3 years to keep working on their business or keep starting new ideas if they want to. And so I would say a good 80% of them, 100% of them start a business in the program. I would say a good 80% go whether to college or keep going with their business to some degree. But like I said, it's the skills that they get that I have thousands of testimonials from parents, teachers, and teens that say, changed my life forever. I'm not afraid to fail. I'm not afraid to be in front of a room. I'm not afraid to go for things I would never dream to try before. And so to me, that's a huge factor.
The enthusiasm that they get in your class, then what you're saying is that it carries forward. And that is sometimes it is the most difficult part of it, right? I mean, we go to all these seminars, and I remember in my younger days, I attended one of these motivational seminars and everything else, right? We all have. And for the weekend, you're just an incredible high, right? I mean, there's really nothing you can do, and speaker after speaker, as the people that we're going to have right after on the when we come back from commercial at the bottom of the hour, we're going to have 2 incredible motivational speakers. But my point is that you're in such a high for such a short period of time that afterwards you go back to your bad habits, right? I mean, you want to change the world. Come Monday morning, you're doing your thing and you're all excited and everything else. By 1 o'clock, you're like, oh, I got to return all these emails. I got to return all these phone calls. And then by Wednesday, you're back to your old habits.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Right.
That's hard to maintain that level of enthusiasm.
Absolutely. And I think what separates us is, like I said, it's a longer program. The fact that they go on, if they're in school, they go on for a year. it takes a couple months to instill habits into anybody, especially with teenagers, and the fact that they can come back. So that definitely helps that it's a longer program, but the fact that they can come back and we call that a tribe, of Rising Tycoons around.
Yep.
I have students who have started with me since 8th grade, and they're now graduating college this year. I know, I just made myself sound really old, but
you are not.
I'm just going to say I started when I was 6 years old. Just kidding. But I mean, that fact that they keep coming back, keep coming around, that's pretty awesome.
And again, one of the beautiful things that we have about the show is that we learn some lessons from the show. And one of the lessons that we learn are from Mars, from the man from Mars, Mr. Brian Wood. Brian, welcome back again. Brian Wood is here in the house, and we're going to be discussing a little bit about what lessons we can learn for this week for the second season of The Man from Mars. Brian Wood.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So, hard to believe, but I used to play a lot of basketball growing up, right? Hard to believe now. We used to play all the time. We used to go from league to tournament, and we were playing all day. So, I'm with the biggest knucklehead that I've ever known. His name is Tony Del Popolo, also a Hall of Fame friend. So, we are on campus, and we're trying to find the gym that we're supposed to play at. So we're running from gym to gym, and I remember saying, man, my legs are burned. I am just dying here. We got to get to this game. The next gym we get into, they're actually playing wheelchair basketball. So a classic example of level 1 victim mentality, because in that whole gym, there was one victim, and that victim was me. My legs are so sore. There were some people that didn't even have legs. So the point is this. We all have thoughts that are associated with a victim mentality that sneak into our mind. The trick is, what do we do about that? Exceptional people bounce back quickly. They realize those thoughts are non-productive, and they bounce back quickly. So the next time you have a level 1 victim mentality thought that comes into your head, refer to your gratitude log and understand that there's a lot to be thankful for. And also remember this, you can put the right thoughts in your head, but thoughts without action, that's just an illusion. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
I love it. Man from Mars. I tell you what. Say that again. Thoughts without action.
Without action. That's an illusion.
That's just an illusion.
Yeah. So that you have to have the right thoughts, because that usually generates the right emotion and ultimately the right action. But if you don't take action, you're kidding yourself.
Olenka, it's all about execution, right? I mean, you have all these great kids running around with all these ideas, and everybody gets all. I mean, it's contagious, right? I mean, you've got people with, oh yeah, I got this idea for a product, for a service, blah 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 blah. But the trick is, all right, how do we do that? How do we execute?
Yeah, for sure. And, to be honest, I think millennials get blamed for that very often. We often say that we have this generation of dreamers, whether it's Gen Z, which is the teenagers, or millennials. The problem is, how do we turn these dreamers into doers? And I think that's exactly what Brian was talking about. How do you take this amazing, incredible ideas? What we lack of sometimes, especially in the educational system too, we lack the how-to steps. How do we tell them, don't go become something, but rather take steps and teach them that process of execution? Because, yes, having a dream is incredible. Having your ideas is incredible, but how do you take step-by-step process and actually make it happen? And that's the huge part of what we teach. Because, leadership is action. Entrepreneurship is action. You can sit and make plans all day long, but the reality is, unless you execute them, nothing will happen.
Teaching to execute. It's probably the most difficult and challenging aspect of what you do, I would dare to say.
Yes, I would agree.
Teaching how to dream. We all dream. We all dream. But very few of us want to get our hands dirty and actually do the grind, do the work. Get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Go out for that jog. Get ready. Get mentally ready. Work the 12, 13, 14. Make the sacrifices necessary.
Well, and if you don't believe something is possible, you're not likely to attempt it. That's part of it, too. It's belief and discipline and all these things rolled up into failure, which can be a beautiful thing.
Belief and faith.
Mm-hmm.
belief and faith.
Amen.
And on the other side, we're going to have Scott McLaine, as promised, my brother from another mother, employee financial trainer and motivational speaker. You're going to hear this guy, man. All I got to do is just push play, and he will just go. And, of course, Shohreh, I almost butcher your last name, Aftahi, MBA, PhD, world-class business coach, who's going to kind of put a little coda to what we were talking about.
Fantastic.
A beautiful thing. And that's when we come back. After we pay some bills, we are the #1 multimedia broadcast show for entrepreneurs in Arizona. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Independent Talk 1100 KFNX, Cave Creek, Phoenix, a division of Premier Radio Stations.
A tsunami wave has hit the Chatham Islands, about 423 miles southeast of New Zealand, following a massive 7.8 earthquake this morning. Strong jolts from the quake, which hit about 30 miles north of the city of Christchurch, have been felt as far as 120 miles away in the capital, Wellington. We're now getting reports that thousands of people have been evacuated from Wellington's city center. New Zealand civil defense officials say the first wave may not be the largest, and waves may continue for several hours. They have warned the 600 people living on the Chatham Islands to move to high ground, quote, urgently.
No Trump, no KKK, no racist USA.
Arrests during anti-Trump protests in several cities Saturday, including on the fourth day of violent protests in Portland, Oregon. On this one-year anniversary of the day terrorists murdered 130 people at multiple sites in Paris, French President François Hollande went to all 7 sites that were attacked. I'm Christopher Cruz.
Getting a great
from the KFNX WeatherBug Weather Center for this morning, a clear sky, sunny today with a high of 82. A mainly clear night tonight, low 60. Sunday, sunny, high again 82. Monday, sunny, high 84. Plenty of sunshine for Tuesday, high 86. I'm meteorologist Jim Rinaldi from the KFNX WeatherBug Weather Center.
Currently, in downtown Phoenix, it's 60 degrees.
Next news in 30 minutes or when it breaks. Here on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX.
Since 1987, the Greater Phoenix Chamber of Commerce has honored the accomplishments of businesses and the impact they've made on the Greater Phoenix business community, highlighting companies with exceptional community involvement and entrepreneurial excellence. To nominate a deserving company, visit phoenixchamber.com. Beethoven, presented by the Scottsdale Philharmonic. General admission is free. Reserve VIP seating, just $15. Arizona's premier Philharmonic presents Beethoven Symphony No. 7 and more. Scottsdale Bible Church, 7601 East Shea Boulevard in Scottsdale. Sunday, November 20th at 4 p.m. Visit ScottsdalePhilharmonic.com.
The Office Pile is one of the top co-working spaces in the nation because it provides the best office space for a multicultural and diverse business community. If you're a business owner looking to rent space, join today for as little as $165 a month. Never a contract or long-term lease. The Office Pile offers you the most beautiful and affordable office space and event hosting destination in Arizona. We can host any event from 2 to 500 guests. TheOfficePile.com, TheOfficePile.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-643-6931 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-643-6931 to take your call now. Call 1-800-643-6931. That's 1-800-643-6931. Again, 1-800-643-6931.
Hey, I'm Don McDowell. Join me every Sunday morning, 7 to 9 for Shake, Rattle, and Troll, Arizona's only exclusive fishing show. A look at local, regional, national tournaments, recreational fishing, freshwater, saltwater, and beyond. Shake, Rattle, and Troll is brought to you by Bill Chrysler Jeep and Dodge, Sunday morning, 7 to 9, right here on KFNX 1100.
Este baile no hay salida,
Why is it that my commercials are always followed by Viagra commercials? They're trying to tell me something?
You got me, Francisco.
Welcome back. My name is because after I said that Viagra thing, I don't want to disclose who my name is. Francisco Javier, and I am joined by my guest, co-host Olenka Cullinan.
Silly. She is silly at 6:30 in the morning, and I must say that commercial music is just putting me to dance here, so I don't know how much longer I can sit.
Well, what happens is that I'm mesmerized by your presence.
Oh,
you are very intelligent, very able, very. There's a word for you. You're a doer. You're a doer. You help people dream, but you're a doer. Olenka Cullinan is the CEO and founder of Rising Tycoons. I got tongue twisted there, only because I have not had enough coffee this morning. This portion of the show is being paid in part by Infusionsoft. Check that out. Sales and marketing automation software built exclusively for small business success. Brian Cowarding, CEO of Elite Restaurants, connecting foodies with the best local establishments in Arizona. Cherry Terry Berry, CEO and founder of Compass Cleaning Solutions, Arizona's go-to organic commercial cleaning service. Mallory Dyer, CEO of Graphlock, and Wes Harrington, CEO and founder of Bed Doctors and New Sleep. Sleep well, live well. And as promised, wow, this is going to be a fiery.
And fuego.
And how do you say en fuego in Russian?
Горящий.
Exactly. As promised, Scott McLaine, employee financial trainer and motivational speaker, and Shohreh Aftahi, MBA, PhD, world-class business coach. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm ready to rock and roll, Scott. How you doing, my man?
Estoy en fuego, mi amigo. Estoy en fuego.
Shohreh, how are you? Are you en fuego as well?
I am. Good morning to you.
Are you going to wake us up?
Absolutely.
Is Phoenix going to woken up this morning?
Here we go, Phoenix. Come on.
Scott, I keep telling people, if I just hit play, you're off.
You know it.
This is only. Well, we only have about maybe 20 minutes left. The floor is yours.
Well, let's get going. So, what would you like to talk about this morning? I mean, I was listening to you talk about failure, and failure's been an important piece in my life, being an entrepreneur, and being a motivational speaker and a seminar trainer and a coach. But being an entrepreneur, first and foremost, I think we've all been through failure, and one of the things that comes to mind is if you're going to fail, do it fast. Entrepreneurs, a lot of times, I think one of the character traits of their success is that they will engage something quickly after a little bit of thought, and then if it doesn't work, they'll bail. I mean, you'll put a sense of drive and perseverance to stick through it, but when the indications are no longer, you fail it, you learn your lessons, and you move on. And you can't sit around and just cry about it. You got to go.
And that is cool. Do you agree, Shohreh?
I do. I add to that failure is experiential learning. And we all know experiential learning is the best kind of learning. You get your hands dirty, you do whatever you need to do, and you learn. And instead of calling it a failure, we call it learning. Now, becomes failure when you continuously repeat it. But it is not learning the first attempt.
Got it.
Or it's not failure.
And I hear what you both are saying, but isn't that creating this society of quote-unquote serial entrepreneurs, which is something that I had never heard up until maybe 4 or 5 years ago. The serial entrepreneur. What do? I ask people, I'm a serial entrepreneur. So what does that mean? I create businesses. I go from business to business. So they become the idea individual. And that's my perception. Perhaps you can clear this up for me and help me understand what a serial entrepreneur is. Because for me, the serial quote-unquote entrepreneur is the one that fails very fast and just moves on to the next idea or the next business without giving the business itself a try. I mean, there are some people out there who have worked 10, 12 years before the business becomes a success. So are we actually encouraging, by failing fast, people not to grind it, not to stick with it?
Yes, I think the answer is partly yes, and I want to comment on a serial entrepreneur because there are a lot of what quote serial entrepreneurs are, but what they are people that don't know how to build a business.
Okay.
And so they fail,
That's
they fail, and they don't really have the skill sets, the mindset, the knowledge, the drive, the understanding how to grow a business. So they call themselves a serial entrepreneur. But you need to have some successes in your past to call yourself a serial entrepreneur. Otherwise, you're just still a student. You're just still learning. You're just still going to figure your stuff out. And so there are some character traits of success, and that's actually what I talk about as the business success formula. What are those character traits? What are those elements that breed success, that are common among those who have achieved success? And I don't want to jump on this yet off of your topic, but that's, you got to be careful when you listen to those serial entrepreneurs.
Well,
Sure.
and I think part of it, what we need to clarify too, the failure we're talking about is calculated failure. We're not talking about just failure for the sake of failing and
Sure.
adding it to your resume. Failure, it's like what Shohreh brought up earlier. It's, lessons learned, what you learn and how do you apply it to your next step.
Shohreh, you're a world-class business coach.
Yes.
What is the first thing that how do people come to you? Let me ask you this question. Or why would people go to you? Why would people go to you? You're a business coach. Why?
Well, a variety of different reasons. Number one, if they have the foresight. I've worked with clients that have a startup and they have the foresight that I don't want to make all the mistakes that everybody else makes and become a statistics. Part of the statistics, 50% of businesses go out of business within the first 5 years. You get to 10 years, 90% go out of business. So those people that have the foresight, and I have those that have hit a wall, nothing is growing, but they're open-minded enough to know that I need help. They come to me for those reasons. The way we engage is if the individual has the ability to learn. I coach if they're coachable. If they aren't, I'm in a distinct privileged position not to engage. In order for people to be successful, I can't make them successful if they don't want to be successful. And that goes back to mindset. We talked about that last section part of the previous part of the show. And that is realizing I have choices and I'm responsible for my choices. So when we talked about, somebody brought up victim mentality.
Mm-hmm.
That
would have been Brian Wood, the man from Mars.
Yes, Brian brought up victim mentality. That is really when you blame everybody else and everything else under the moon, that they're responsible for your failure. However, if we take responsibility of our choices, then make the decision as to what we want to do next, that is a winner mentality.
At what point, though, Scott, at what point do you realize that no matter how hard you're going to work, no matter how much effort you're going to put into a particular business, and Olenka, chime in on this as well, because you've seen so many ideas. At what point do you actually, as a coach also, Shohreh, do you tell your client, you're doing everything exactly as coached, but the idea itself or the product itself is just not there. The market is not there for this product. So it doesn't matter all that we're discussing right now, the effort, you're coachable, you're doing everything. But that widget, that pet rock, oh, wait a minute, no, the pet rock was successful. But whatever the pet, anything, it's just not there. At what point do you realize that?
That's a good question.
And you tell your client, hey, look, it's just not there, man.
Well, I have to preface this conversation by saying that I am not an expert in failure. Okay, so I am an expert in success. So I don't really know what that point is. When I look back in my own life, there's moments like you pretty much said it. You just get a gut feeling. Everything seems to, if you're in a business venture, everything seems to have fallen apart. Your customers seem to not be buying. Your team seems to be having doubt in what you're doing. Nobody's sticking around. You're no longer the expert. Nobody wants to listen to you anymore. They just kind of want to go. And you can't seem to get any momentum. At that point, if you're sitting alone at your house thinking, I'm going to make this happen, and you've already tried it and everybody's gone, you need to really revisit your entire plan, or you need to start something new.
Is that an honest conversation that you yourself, Shohreh, have with your client?
Well, that is definitely the huge part of what I do with my client, because we go through a clarity phase, identifying what their values are, what their goals are the goals aligned with their values, and then look at the business. And what I do Specifically, I don't call myself a consultant. I call myself a coach because I provoke thoughts and I help them self-discover where they are, why they're there, what they need to do. So that point automatically comes up when the product is not a viable product.
At some point, you have to kind of just say goodbye, let it go.
Right.
Olenka Cullinan in studio as my co-host. She is the CEO of Rising Tycoons. And we also have, of course, Scott McLaine, who is the employee financial trainer and motivational speaker, and Shohreh Aftahi, MBA, PhD, world-class business coach. An incredible conversation. Olenka, in your experience, when you have so many ideas that you hear, I mean, you've got to be, just processing every single idea, every single product and service. Oh, I have this idea. Do you at some point in time kind of coach or tell the kids that come through your place, the first thing that they should do is probably Google that idea or Google that product that you said you're going to revolutionize the world with to see whether somebody else has already have it?
Yeah, 100%. And honestly, like I told you, there's no shortage of ideas. It's a shortage of execution usually.
Right.
So I would say we do it pretty early on. We'd never tell them that it's terrible, but I will tell you that I see it with adult entrepreneurs as well. Entrepreneurs love awesome. We come up with an idea, we think it's awesome because we think so, and that's when we want to run with it. So
and we think it's unique because nobody else has thought about it.
No, that's your baby. I mean, you treasure it and you want to grow it and you want to feed it and make it fantastic.
Yes.
But with teenagers, and millennials both, we learn that pretty quickly. So that's that doer, that execution action. What we do, we have them actually go to physical customers. My favorite phrase is get out of the building. Get out of the building, go meet people, go talk to people. If out of 100 people, 66 told you that it's not a good thing, you probably, no matter how awesome it is. And it's funny because we literally had stories, I want to do this business. Why? Well, so-and-so that I just met in a hallway told me it's awesome. Yeah, that's something that probably is not going to work. But again, we want them to learn that. We want them to go to people. We want them to start getting on the phones, Google. I mean, they're incredible with technology. You can go all the way to China just by pressing a button.
Right.
And so, that's how they learn. They learn that we don't believe in ideas that are not proven. We don't believe in ideas that don't have traction. And you can see that pretty early on if you get out of the building and actually start action.
And it might be okay to come up with something that somebody already thought of, but perhaps you're going to improve on that
100%.
idea.
We do two types of ideas. One, it's called things that piss me off. That means you found a problem, it annoys you or somebody else that you know,
sure,
and you want to fix that. And the second one is things that already exist that I can make better. Those are the two type of ideas that generally produce best kind of businesses.
Scott, you are a success coach.
That's it.
You specialize in success.
Absolutely.
What is the first thing? Or is there a secret, by the way? Is there a secret sauce to success? Is there something that you tell somebody that comes up to you and says, you know what, Scott, you are a success coach. How can I rub that success that you have to me? What is it?
Yeah, there absolutely is, and it's a formula. And I know you know my background, and every time I get across, I want to compliment you first, Francisco. You are interviewing entrepreneurs all over the valley. You've entrepreneured hundreds and hundreds of them. As you start going through the process of meeting entrepreneurs, you start learning the common threads among them that are successful. And I've had an opportunity to do the same around the country, traveling around, visiting with teams, sales teams specifically when I was promoting and working with Tom Hopkins International and putting on sales training seminars. Mm-hmm. Got to meet some of the nation's top sales teams and organizations, and I found this common thread that runs among the groups that were doing the most successful. And that formula is what both Shohreh and I are speaking on. Well, she's speaking on a topic, but we're doing an event for the Phoenix Metro Chamber of Commerce and the Southwest Veterans Chamber of Commerce and the BNI 101 at the end of the month on the 30th at the House of Comedy. And my particular topic is the business success formula. And to answer your question, yes, there is. It starts with a vision. An entrepreneur, first off, if he wants to grow his business or she wants to grow her business, they're going to do that by empowering and inspiring the employees within that business. Business is going to get better after their team gets better. And if it's only a one-person show, then it's them themselves. But if they've got a team, they've got to inspire their team. And that starts with the entrepreneur having their own vision. So the first piece of the formula is having a vision, something that you believe wholeheartedly in, that you can accomplish. And you see it. You see it clearly in your mind. You know it's a reality. You can taste it. You feel it. You know it. You believe it. And you feel compelled to tell everyone else about it. It's your baby. In addition to vision, you've got to have passion. You've got to have a sense of, I know I can make this happen. I know I can do it. I want to do it. It's that need. It pisses me off, as Olenka says, and I'm going to solve this dang problem no matter what. So you got your vision, you've got your passion, and imagine you have those in two hands. If you take your vision in one hand and your passion in the other, and you bring them together, you start the equation. You start bringing like the seed and the egg coming together. Vision and passion creates the formula. The universe starts conspiring. Then you add a sense of belief to that you absolutely believe you can accomplish this no matter what. If you've got vision, passion, belief, and then start throwing in some of the other ingredients: drive, determination, perseverance, resilience. You start integrating these things, and you're going to have a person who's going to achieve success and who's going to win that trophy, not the person who's just going to get one because, we've been through that.
And it doesn't matter that nobody else believes it, so long as you believe it. Scott, that's what's important. And I think that's the trait of the leadership that you're describing on he or she who is starting that business.
To an extent, I think that Olenka has a very good point that you got to get out of the building. You can believe all day that your product's great, but until you start presenting it to other people, if they don't buy into it and they just glaze over, you might want to rethink. I've been to several of them, but I've been to a local incubator type company, and I don't want to give their name, but I watched their young candidates that were going through, and these kids had the lamest, stupidest, dumbest company products ideas ever. But they really need to know that because they're wasting their time and their energy building some company that is baloney. They really need to know that because they're wasting their time and their energy building some company that is baloney. People need to be told when their idea is a ball of nothingness and to dust themselves back off and get back up and do something that really makes a difference.
Which is exactly the same thing that we were discussing at the top of the hour. Olenka, we're talking about giving everybody trophies and not really learning that failure, or to embrace failure, if you will, in such a way that with the same honesty that you teach your kids, in your case, Rising Tycoons, you teach them success, you're also letting them know that, hey, look, maybe your idea might not be the best one. It's okay. Learn something and then move on.
Absolutely. Yes. They have to, even if they fail, they have to present it for that reason because that's how you learn. You learn that it wasn't that great and you move on and you don't die from that. And everything happens for a reason. But I absolutely agree with what Scott was just saying. You have to have the honesty and authenticity in business, and success is very authentic. Otherwise, it's never going to work.
Shohreh, Scott was rather effusive in his presentation of what, and, I think he feels very strongly about this point.
He does.
In your situation, tell me a little bit about the people that have come to you. Do you have, do they stay as your clients for the rest of their lives, or is there maybe a year contract? Is there a 6-month contract? My point is, after they're done with you, after they're done coaching,
yes.
Do you follow up with them? Do you know what happens to those people afterwards?
Right. They come to me and they either stay or go for a variety of different reasons. But I have clients that have been with me 10 years and I'm a most trusted advisor. Our engagement changes form, but we're still working together. And there are others that have a certain goal that they achieve, and they'll move on to something else or have an exit strategy or whatever their circumstances. It really depends on them. It's not about me. It's about them and where they are and what they want to achieve. I don't have a contract. I don't believe in contracts. I want people to be working with me because they want to work with me, because they trust me and they believe I am helping them. If they're not getting the results, they're welcome to go anywhere they like to go.
See, that's what's very cool about what you do, because now you're not tying somebody
correct
into a commitment, if you will, that they feel stuck, because their success, from what I'm listening to what you're saying,
right,
their success is going to be your success and your best calling card for the next client.
Absolutely.
The same thing with Scott.
Absolutely, yeah. No, we can't use contracts in motivation or development or personal growth. If you're not producing the results for that employer, why would you try and force them to bring you back in? You know, I mean, I've had my share of failures. I've done my speeches before where I had an 8-hour seminar. People paid to come see me, and 4 hours was supposed to be handled by somebody else. He didn't show up. I had to carry the whole 8 hours. That was a painful day.
No, I don't think that is a painful for you to carry 8 hours. In fact, it wouldn't be painful for you to carry 16 hours, Scott. I think that you could just talk for 24 hours and you'd still be going. It would be like, okay, you got to take a little break here. There's a bathroom here around the corner. Olenka, with Rising Tycoons, what is the future of Rising Tycoons?
Rising Tycoons plan is to be, obviously we want to be
aside from dominating the
world. Obviously, right. You don't win, you dominate. That's Russian speaking in me.
Exactly.
But the idea is, one, we want to be in schools nationwide. So obviously we are planning to bring more states on. We want to be in more schools in Arizona. We have an incredible event here coming up with Grand Canyon University on November 19th. We're bringing 100 teens from all over the valley to that event into Grand Canyon University. So it's going to be pretty exciting. We want to do more things like that. And the idea is, honestly, we want to bring more adult influences in, because without them, there is no us. So we need entrepreneurs. We need entrepreneurs and Fuego.
There you go. So you need mentors, and we can certainly assist on that in providing people that have really promised to volunteer in this type of event so that their stories can be heard by a younger generation and not get all googly-eyed by what sometimes social media and the media in general portrays entrepreneurship as. It's something that is easy, that is fast. You take the blue pill. You go to sleep, wake up in 2 weeks, and the Lamborghini's parked right outside your door. It doesn't work that way. It is a lot of tears, a lot of sacrifices, a lot of hard work, and that's what the show Entrepreneurs and Fuego is all about. We interview those people that come onto the show, and they tell their stories. You know, we focus on their journeys, and that's what's cool about it. So, by all means, we will definitely do that. Scott and Shohreh are here in studio, and you say an event that is coming up, correct?
Yeah, we're both speaking at an event put on by the Phoenix Metro Chamber of Commerce and the
when is that going to be again?
Southwest Veterans Chamber of Commerce and the BNI 101. It's November 30th, and it is at the House of Comedy up on High Street. Yeah.
And if anybody wanted to find out more about that event, what do they need to do?
I'd say go to the Phoenix Metro Chamber of Commerce. I think it's phoenixmetrochamber.com. If not, just Google it, and that'll give you the exact address.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And is that an all-day situation? Is that?
I believe it's a 2-hour luncheon.
I believe so, yes. It's a luncheon.
And is it free? Does it cost any money?
There's a fee to it. It's $25 or so if you're a non-member or something
$25 if you're a member. $30, I believe, it's if you're a guest.
A bargain. And Olenka, in your event, how do people find out a little bit more about not only that event, but other events that you have coming up?
They can go to risingtycoons.com, and then under In Media, we have events, and they can see the event that we have going on. They can follow our Facebook page. It's been blasting and blaring because everybody's excited. We have a lot of incredible entrepreneurs coming on board because they're all on Fuego. And I just want to speak to both of the experts we have in the room. You know, to be honest, I think part of a success is knowing when you need to go and ask for help. So I really commend Shohreh and Scott both working with people because, you know, part of a success, you would rather want to be, you know, denied by greatness than accepted by mediocrity.
I love that. Today, we've had in studio my co-host, Olenka Cullinan, CEO, founder of Rising Tycoons. We've also had Scott McLaine, employee financial trainer and motivational speaker. I just had to hit play with you, man.
That's it.
That was it.
I was trying to hold it back today. You know, really, there's so much to talk about. There's so many keys, even to success.
Shohreh Aftahi, MBA, PhD, world-class business coach. And, of course, the man from Mars, Brian Wood. Tune in every Sunday on this, your independent radio station, 1100 KFNX from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Or you're missing out every Saturday. Also, Entrepreneurs and Fuego TV show on AZTV Channel 7. Exactly. By the way, I'm going to finish with a great quote by Charlie Day. You cannot let a fear of failure or a fear of comparison or a fear of judgment stop you from doing what's going to make you great. You cannot succeed without this risk of failure. You cannot have a voice without the risk of criticism, and you cannot love without the risk of loss. You must go out there and take this risk because This has been the Entrepreneurs en Fuego show. Until next week, we're out.
The